Hello dear student, myself Kanchan Vishramji Kumbhalkar, Assistant Professor, Department of Chemistry of Shri Shivaji College of Arts, Commerce and Science Akola. This is my 12th lecture on thermoanalytical methods. This is the overall syllabus. The highlighted topics are already completed. In this lecture, we will discuss with the factor affecting DSC curve and its comparison. So let's start with the factor affecting DSC curve. In previous lecture, we discussed about the DSC. What is meant by DSC? DSC, it is nothing but a differential scanning colorimetry. It is nothing but simply the comparison between delta H upon delta T versus temperature. Means in simple way, when you are supplying a temperature with respect to the type of reaction, the requirement of heat is different, and due to which the change in energy occurred, that is delta H. And with respect to the temperature difference, we measure it, and the value delta H upon delta T is put on a y-axis, and that has been measured against the temperature in Kelvin. So let's start with the factor affecting DSC curve. The first factor is nothing but a sample shape. The shape of sample has little effect on the quantitative aspect of DSC, but has more effect on qualitative aspect, which has been observed in figure 2, where if you are changing a type of sample, you get a different types of peaks. However, the samples in the form of disc film or powder sprayed on pan are preferred. In the case of polymeric sheets, a disc cut with a cork borer gives good result. Now, this graph or this type of thermogram showing the effect of shape of sample. In this is the particular DSC. What is DSC graph? DSC graph, it is nothing but a delta H upon delta T on y-axis and temperature in a Kelvin on x-axis. This is known as the DSC curve, differential scanning colorimetry. Now, if you are taking a granules of sample, then such type of peak has been observed. And if you are taking a flat type of sample, then because of just change in shape of sample, you get a different types of peaks, or you get a different types of graph. In this case, the melting point of bismuth, this is the peak of bismuth, this is the melting point of 6.3 milligram of bismuth, which is quite sharp as compared to this one. So when you take a sample granular, then such type of, and if you take a flat type of, then it is such type of prominent DSC curve has been observed. Means the first factor, that is size of sample, which affect the qualitatively more as compared to the quantitatively. Second factor is sample size. About 0.5 to 10 mg is usually sufficient. Smaller sample size is good for the faster scanning. Hence, smaller samples enable faster scanning, which gives better shaped peak with a good resolution and provide better contact with the gaseous environment. On the other hand, with a large sample, smaller heats of transition may be measured with a great precision. So in this case, basically 0.5 to the 10 mg is considered as a sufficient sample size, and that is considered as the dominant. Next, it has been observed that the DSC curve is about equal to or similar, about quite similar like DTA curve. Basically, in principle, like DTA, the DSC and DTA is about similar. In principle, like DTA, DSC involve the heating of sample and inert reference. But in DTA, we are putting the sample and the reference in a same chamber, and we give a heat, and we programmed it. We give a continuous and constant and same to both reference as well as sample, both heated in a same heater chamber in a DTA. But in a DSC, when we are comparing the power compensate in DSC, the two are heated quite separately. The sample, as we previously in lecture 11, we study about the block diagram of DSC. In that case, the sample holder and the reference holder, they are placed in a different heater. Obviously, the programmer programmed for the temperature in such a way that both the supply of temperature is constant and common, exactly equal to both reference as well as sample. But in DTA, the sample and reference compound put in a same chamber, but in DSC, they are put in a different chamber. So on the basis of power compensated DSC, the two are heated, means sample and reference compound are heated quite separately with a separate electrical heater. The heater are programmed to ensure that the temperature of both sample and reference advance at exactly the same rate. It follows that when endotherms or exotherm occur in the sample, the power of heater will need to be varied in order to maintain delta T is equal to 0. For example, which has been shown in a figure 3. Now, what is the basic principle of DSC? For example, when we are considering the NMR, there is a shielding and de-shielding. If there is a shielding, then there is a requirement more frequency for the resonance purpose, so energy has been get increases. Means to resonate the proton, we require extra energy to maintain the energy or the energy of both the proton, induced magnetic field, and the proton. If we want to resonate it, if we want to mention at a same level, then we required in a shielding process we required extra energy, but in a de-shielding we required a less energy because that has been reinforcing. Exactly like that, in DSC, suppose there is no reaction takes place, then there is no any delta H, means there is no any difference in temperature, means with respect to delta H there is no temperature change, or temperature does not affect that particular reaction at that particular temperature, hence the delta H is not observed. But at a particular temperature, if there is a increase in there is a something reaction has been occurred, and for that purpose to maintain a difference of temperature between reference and sample is equal to 0, that is delta T is equal to 0. For that purpose, sample either absorb or demand more temperature or demand less temperature to maintain a delta T, because the reaction occurred in the reactant, in the sample. So if there is no reaction, the temperature of sample as well as reference maintain exactly equal, hence delta T is the difference between the temperature is considered as a 0, obviously. But if the reaction occurred at a particular temperature, then what happened? Due to which the some amount of heat is required, and due to which the reference doesn't affect, but the sample reaction occurred at particular temperature, and due to which the heat get deflected, change, and due to which the delta H observed. And to maintain a temperature, the sample either demand more heat from heater or demand less heat from heater as compared to the reference to maintain a delta T is equal to 0. And this is the basic of DSC, and that effect, that is delta H upon delta T versus T, has been putted in the form of DSC curve, which has been shown in a figure 3. Thus, by monitoring the difference in power supplied to the heater, that is delta E, the thermal change in the sample may be followed, which has been shown in figure 4, which is a illustration example of a typical DSC thermogram schematically. Now let's check out the figure number 3 and figure number 4. This is the figure number 3, that is schematic representation of variation of power supply to the sample and reference. Now in this case there are 3 types of things has been observed. First one is the endotherm, second one is the exotherm, and third one is the simple plateau line. There is no any curve or there is no any bulges present in that line. Now what we put the E, that is the power supplied by that of the heater, the heating process to that of the sample as well as the reference compound, and temperature of sample and reference. As you are giving a temperature to the sample and reference, if there is no reaction, the intake of temperature of sample as well as reference is same. Hence this parallel line has been observed. With respect to the in this case, in this area, it has been observed that the temperature intake of the sample as well as reference is common, or the power supplied by that of the heater is same. There is no any difference between the power supply to that of the sample as well as the reference. But at this range of temperature, the reaction in a sample occurred, and that type of reaction is endothermic reaction. So in this case, because it is an endothermic reaction, therefore the heat requirement has been reduces, and due to which the heat requirement reduces, in the heater supply less amount of temperature to the sample. The upper curve, this is nothing but for that of the sample. The parallel line which is straight, it is for that of the reference. With respect to temperature at a particular level, in reference compound does not affected by the temperature. At any range, it does not affected by temperature. We are taking a alumina as a reference compound. The temperature does not affect the reference compound. Only the sample get affected by the temperature. Suppose at this temperature level there is an exothermic reaction has been occurred, therefore heat has been liberated. So heat due to the liberation of heat takes place, hence the amount of energy requirement or heat requirement to fulfill that reaction demands less. So hence in this region the sample reduces the demand of temperature, that is heating temperature. Hence the power supply to the sample reduces, but reference doesn't affect it, so it is showing the similar direct same with the same slope. Now again at this temperature the reaction is not occurred here, hence again the demand of temperature, demand of power from that of the heater to the sample and reference is considered as the equal. There is considered as a quite equal. And lastly, when we are considering this bulge, this is for that of the endotherm, therefore heat has been absorbed. Therefore to maintain a reaction or the reaction occurred endothermic, hence the power supply has been demanded more, the sample demand more power supply, hence there is a bulge has been there. Means as compared to the reference compound, in this temperature, at this temperature the demand of power has been increases and suddenly then decreases and then equal to the reference compound. So this is the basic schematic representation of variation of power supply to the sample and references. And the lastly, the fourth. This is the schematic DSC curve. It is worthy to note that the measurement of delta E is effectively a direct measurement of energy change in the sample. This makes DSC particularly appropriate as a technique for the measurement of delta H values. So in this case we are considering the delta E versus the temperature. There are two types, like a DTA here. In that case we are measuring a delta T. In DSC we are measuring a delta H upon delta T, that is delta E versus the temperature. It is worthy to note that the measurement of delta E is effective. It is a delta E is nothing but in the format of, means delta H has been measured in the format of delta E. So it is measured in the form of delta E. It is effective and direct measurement of energy change in the sample. This makes DSC particularly appropriate as a technique for the measurement of delta H value. So heat flux DSC attain similar result heating sample and reference from the same disk. The thermocouples are used to sense the differential heat flow to the sample as well as the standard reference compound or standard compound. So this is the typical schematic DSC curve, in which the lower curve is indicating it is exothermic, upper curve is indicating that there is a reaction occurred and which is endothermic, where the delta E is positive, and here the temperature of the sample and reference compound has been putting. So this is the typical schematic DSC curve. For this lecture, this is enough. In next lecture we will continue this DSC curve and its comparison. So up till then, take care, be safe, stay safe. Thank you very much.